All right, Espeon time. Like I said, I am being pretty brief with these because, yeah. Um, Two things need to get disclaimers for everybody who's new. Number one disclaimer: if you're curious about Evo Boost or the evolution method or the evolutions as a whole or Eevee, watch the Eevee video. It's like 10 minutes. Check that one out if you're curious. Otherwise, um, I've been giving them all elemental abilities because they are the evolutions, and so they all have Electric Surge, Drizzle, Drought, Snow Warning, Psychic Surge, Grassy Surge. I said Electric Surge already. Dark Aura and Fairy Aura. So they all have elemental, like the penultimate elemental abilities that also boost their stab by either 30% or 50%, depending on which of them is that. And there's actually advantages over, like I would say, Dark Aura and Fairy Aura, actually, despite being weaker, have genuine advantages over the Surges and Weathers because, well, Snow Warning doesn't boost and not a Sandstream, but there's no rock evolution anyway, or ground or whatever. But that doesn't mean that, like, okay, because basically all of the terrains actually have negative effects or potentially negative effects. They're useful for you, but like they can also hinder your team. So for example, Electric Surge means you can't use sleep moves, or Psychic Surge makes it harder to use priority moves, that kind of thing. Although I will actually Google this to confirm, but I'm pretty sure the terrain, like Psychic terrain, only negates priority moves that are being targeted. So Espeon can still use, for example, Influx as a special psychic priority move. I believe that Influx will work on a non-grounded Pokemon. So it doesn't immediately negate them, it just negates it on grounded Pokemon. So any Pokemon that's touching the ground, priority moves will fail on it. So Espeon can't use Influx on Flareon, but Espeon can use Influx on Gyarados, for example. That's just an example. So that's something. So Influx is not useless. Also, you have solar power, but I'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, that was my point about the auras and stuff, is that they're not actually worse, even though they don't boost as high. So, and of course, the beauty is you have infinite ability capsules. So let's say you really need priority moves on your team, which you probably will a lot of the time because fucking everything has priority, and then you also have Sucker Punch and First Impression as TMs. And a lot of those moves are actually staples on certain Pokemon. So Psychic Surge isn't all it's cracked out to be. It's very strong. Do not get it wrong. That was not, I didn't mean for that to fucking rhyme. It's very strong, don't get me wrong, but it can hinder your team. When the opponent is using it, it's amazing because you can't click Sucker Punch on their Espeon. You can't click First Impression on their Espeon. You can't click Night Burst on their Espeon. You can't click Spook or Shadow Sneak or whatever. You can't click it on them unless your Pokemon overrides the terrain. I was going to say if your Pokemon is not grounded, but actually doesn't work that way. I'm pretty sure Espeon is still affected by the terrain, therefore it will still be immune to priority moves. That out of the way, Psychic Surge is immensely powerful, hence why I quote-unquote nerfed Espeon. I didn't actually nerf it because of the move pool and the abilities. It is still much stronger than original Espeon, and has much more coverage, like I said, so that's great. And you have more special defense, so it's not like I just ripped the stats off of it as a nerf. I mean, it's bulkier now. It takes special hits much better. So now, all of the evolutions, their highest possible special stat is 115 for special attack. That's their highest possible attacking stat. None of them have over 115. So Glaceon, Espeon, and Flareon have 115 special attack. The rest of them have, 110. Or Jolteon, which I was actually considering making Jolteon 115 special attack, 90 speed F, but I forget why I didn't. I think it's because I thought that was kind of overkill. I would be like, oh, it makes it even better than Raichu, but maybe too much better. And not really, actually, because Instinct is great and coverage is great and physical moves are great and whatnot. But I don't know. Jolteon's fine as is. Anyways, yeah, Espeon is great. So Psychic Surge is obviously excellent. Your Psychic type moves with 115 base special attack are super powerful. But despite them being very powerful, Psychic Surge is not infinitely useful because it can always hinder your teammates. I mean, in those cases where it hinders your teammates, you can just swap on Solar Power, even if you're not using Sun. However, if you are using Sun, Solar Power is actually just as strong as Psychic Surge, only it applies to all of your moves, and it makes Solar Beam have no recharge, and it boosts Mystical Fire or Weather Ball, or it turns into a bunch of fire type moves. So that's really, really good stuff there. And it makes Morning Sun heal by 2/3. So Solar Power will have a lot of, I mean, you're not really using Solar Power for bulk, you're using it to kill shit, to get fucking KOs. So, Solar Power Espeon can run like a Psychic Stab plus maybe Priority or Nasty Plot or Calm Mind plus Solar Beam plus Fire type move. There you go. Now you're getting really, really powerful moves off. And also, it's really unique. it's super unique and cool to have a pure psychic type that works with solar power. There's a couple other solar power mons that aren't fire types or grass types. Grass types are pretty self-explanatory, but besides fire and grass, there's now like Espeon with psychic, or Heliolisk, which is neither of those types either will have solar power as well. So that's really cool stuff to have. It's always nice to have that option. With infinite ability capsules, you can just swap it on. Psychic Surge isn't as overpowered. It's very good. Don't get that's why I had to nerf special attack, because there's no universe in which I give Espeon 130 special attack, 110 speed. Some Pokemon are actually much stronger than that, but the evolutions being that, like, if all the evolutions were that strong, I would be okay with it, but they're not all that strong. So if I kept 130 special attack on Espeon, it would be by far probably just the best. It would overall just be the best evolution. And that's no fun, especially when it was already kind of low-key the best evolution, or one of the best besides like Sylveon and shit. I would say probably the second best evolution next Sylveon, and then Umbreon would be next because it's like Staldy and shit. But Umbreon is much different. That's gonna be a more interesting change guide for sure. I'm excited for that one. I also just like Umbreon. I also like Espeon. Espeon's actually pleasant. I like the colors. I like the eye shape. It's a pleasant design. Double tail, the fur. It's cute. It's a nice design. Very sleek looking. A lot more interesting than the Gen 1 ones. Although I do like Vaporeon. It's probably my favorite because it actually has an interesting design. But Jolteon's cool, but kind of boring, and Flareon is just fluffy. I don't really care for it that much. It's cool. My favorite in terms of the changes. I like Drought and Fluffy. It's really interesting and fun. Not to say that Espeon is not fun or interesting. It's it is what it is. It's all great, okay? It's all great shit. So coverage-wise, you have much better coverage. So yeah, you keep Dazzling Gleam, you keep Signal Beam, both of which are stronger now. Both of these have a 25% chance to boost your special attack, and they're 80 base power each. They're the same move, essentially, just different types. Then you have Shadow Ball, Psychic, Aura Sphere, Mystical Fire, Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, Solar Beam. Great coverage moves. Really good. That's all you need, really. And then you also, of course, have Nature Power, which can work on other terrains. Like if you're using a solar power set with like a terrain up, you can get coverage moves that you didn't otherwise get. It's always niche, but it's nice to have that option as a TM to reteach. You have Barrier and Baton Pass and Amnesia. Eventually you will get Stored Power. I've covered Stored Power a billion times. Stored Power is buffed to give you +1 special attack each time you use it, but it's nerfed to have only 3 PP, because that would be fucking insane if it had any more, because you could just sweep everything. So +1 special attack each time you use it, that gives you +20 base power each time you get a boost, so that's really great with Nasty Plot and Calm Mind. Calm Mind especially, because Nasty Plot you can only use it once, but Calm Mind you can use twice, maybe even 3 times actually. I forget what I put the cap on there for. So yeah, that's excellent to have. Really is excellent. So that's really interesting and fun, and Sword Power, Calm Mind sets are great. But Baton Pass, you can Baton Pass all of these boosts as well pretty easily. Magic Bounce was arguably better than Solar Power, but I think Solar Power fits really well given the fact that it's the sun. It's one of the sun Pokemon. Like yeah, it even calls it the sun Pokemon. Daytime, nighttime, Sunstone evolutions. It predicts the weather. Basks. There's something about here basking in the sun. Yeah. Psychic Power builds up in the orb as it bathes in sunshine. So Solar Power is perfect for Espeon. And Magic Bounce is actually going to another pure Psychic type. And there are also other dual type fast offensive Psychic types that will have Magic Bounce. So kind of boring on Espeon otherwise. It's good, but boring. So yeah. Also doesn't fit that well anyway. But yeah, coverage. Also Power Gem. Power Gem is 90 base power, 25% chance to boost special attack, so that's another one that boosts your special attack a quarter of the time. Psyshock is very powerful, 95 base power, no drawbacks. Psychic is slightly weaker, but it has the chance to drop special defense, and it's a TM, so you can switch that on and off. So I would say that they are both equal because one is reteachable, the other one is not. And of course, one hits physically. Psystrike is much more powerful, but inaccurate. So Psystrike is 85% accurate, but it is 130 base power. Psycho Boost is 150 base power, 100% accurate, minus special attack. You can spam that twice in a row and just get kills. I mean, Psycho Boost is powerful as fuck. Sword Power is obviously great. Future Sight is nice with like Protect and shit. 160 base power, so that's really powerful as well. Kind of niche, but it's there. Usually I put these moves earlier actually, but there was the mons were consistently. I could have swapped Psychic, Psyshock, and Future Sight, but I don't know. It feels kind of weird to have Psyshock that late, so this is fine. Future Sight's very powerful, so it's still worth using in some cases. So because the AI doesn't switch out, so you can pretty much control what it hits. As long as you're stalling out the turns properly, you can actually Future Sight, swap out, and then set up with another Pokemon. A bulky one. and then kill whatever's in front of you 2 turns later. So it's honestly like those moves are really good with the buffs I gave them. Don't sleep on Doom Desire and Future Sight at all. I think that's about it for Espeon. This is a quicker one. I want to rapid fire these. I'm sick and tired of them. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I've been spending like a whole day on these guys, like a lot of hours, and I'm just bored of them. They are not interesting Pokemon. They are very strong, very good, and I did give them specific care. Don't get me wrong, like I didn't rush them. I didn't give them lazy changes, although it might look like that because their type, like their level up moves are all just one type versus other mons. Like they have much more colorful learn sets, much more specific options, but that's mostly because they're evolutions, and so they are like very basic, like design wise and concept wise. Like they are the embodiment of the typing for the most part, so they shouldn't really have too much other moves by level up, besides their stab and like a couple of other random shit. So yeah, thanks for listening to this one, and I'll be going on to Umbreon.